I'm not psycho. Wake up.
That's right. I'm not psycho. I'm Dougie Almeida, and this is the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. How are you all doing today? Good? Are you guys fighting on Facebook? Are you fighting on Facebook? Oh, God. I posted a couple things on Facebook, and now I'm a racist, homophobe. What else did people call me? Oh, I don't know. But I'll let you guys be the judge. What do you say? Great show today. I'm going to be joined by a fellow comedian and new friend, Mr. Greg Kritikos is with us. What's up, Greg? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Doug, how are you, man? Great
All
to be
right.
here. Thank you for having me.
You got it. You know, we've been friends on Facebook a long time, but now we finally have actually got to know each other. You know what I mean?
It took some death to get us together, but my condolences. Dark side.
It's always funny when you know somebody and then you meet somebody and you realize there's so many other people that you both know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. I mean, we started talking next. You know Ben. Oh, you know John. Oh, you know fucking whoa. You know.
The comedy world's very small.
It is, and I think that's a lesson. I mentioned this to actually I heard another veteran comic mentioning this to another younger comic in the green room recently that if you're going to talk shit about somebody, be careful and be ready to back it up because it will get back to somebody. And that shit's always there. So, and no, it's great. Actually, you and I talked, and I'm not going to give anything away, but we got some exciting things coming that you're working on and stuff. And as a comedian, you're also an actor. You had some great stuff out there, and I love it too, man. One of my mentors says you'll be an actor before you're a big comic, and I'm like, wow, either one would be fine with me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But is there one that you enjoy more than the other, Greg?
To be, when I was 24 years old, just 24 years young, I got into the comedy world and also the acting world, and I loved it. And which I'll break a little bit of my anonymity. I don't know if you know, I am sober. I just celebrated recently 11 years of sobriety. And
Nice.
thank you. And back then I was getting a lot of opportunities, but unfortunately the alcohol and some of that cocaine and all that type of stuff kind of took over. And I always had a passion for acting. Acting has always been, a big passion of mine. I loved acting. When I was a young kid, I remember acting my first school play right down the block over here. I live in Astoria, Queens. I was the Sky God in a play, and I remember curtains opening up, and I'm sitting. They had me on this play, and I was in elementary school. And I remember the curtains opening up, and a sea of people. The auditorium held, I think it was close to about 450 seats, 500 seats.
Right.
And it was like a sea of people. And I remember reading my lines as the Sky God and some laughter. And I automatically caught the bug, man. I don't know, because I was acting in the play, but also it was a little comical. So, yeah, in between, I guess you could mix them up together, put them in any way you want, acting, comedian. But I love acting. Acting is really cool. I enjoy acting. I'm a very creative person. I love producing most of all.
Yeah. I would love to do that. But when I watch movies and stuff, I could see myself as a director. You know what I mean? I could, because to really help the vision of what we're trying to project. I really like, I think I'd be good at that as well. But I like it. I think my only problem with acting is I'm a sweater, and almost every time I've had an acting job, I always feel bad when they put the makeup on me and shit, and they get me all done, and then you're sitting there and you're like, oh fuck, I'm dying over here. I can't stop sweating. Just if you listen, anything we shoot, dude, it's got to be in the winter or it's got to be we can't do it in the summer, man. It can't have a jacket on and shit in the summer. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
We're gonna be like, okay, scene. Hold on a second. Get somebody, Doug a towel. Get this fat fucking towel.
I'm a fucking sweater, bro. I'm a sweater. Identify with you. I mean, there's times even on stage, I sweat like R. Kelly at a Sweet 16 party. That's how much I'm sweating, man. I'm a bad sweater. I mean, and plus, I don't know if you know my history. I was 385 pounds at one point in my life. And I lost 185 pounds. From 385, I went down to 200. I wish I could show you some pictures. But anyway, sweating, that's always been up there. So I was working on this movie with Eric Roberts called 79 Parts. And I remember them putting the makeup on me and then cutting. I played this mob boss where I'm behind I get a call, and the actress's name, I forget her name, but she was dating Pussy, the real life Pussy from Sopranos. And I remember a couple times the director was like, all right, let's cut. Greg, you want to wipe yourself down? And every time I was wiping myself down, I get all the orange from the makeup.
Yeah.
So sweating is a big part. I'm a big sweater. So
Yeah.
I love the winter. I'm a winter guy, basically.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Well, when you're sweating when you're wearing makeup, you're not supposed to wipe. You're supposed to dab.
Right, pat.
You're supposed to
Yeah, well, it
dab.
wasn't like one of those $10 million budgets.
Yeah, exactly.
But I remember the makeup artist did run over to me and said, "No, don't do, don't." Like,
Yeah, yeah. Next
like
thing you
that
know, you
scene
fucking.
in what was that in Batman? I think it was the Joker, the original with Keaton and Jack Nicholson, when he kind of wipes himself
and the white comes out, and the skin color comes off, and then he exposes his white face. Great, great thing. One of the last things I filmed was like a corporate training video, which is actually, we got paid really well on it. It was really professionally shot. The director from Narcos in Mexico, the Mexico Narcos, was the director of it. And it was funny because the first scene, I'm in this office. Now we filmed this in some like church, and they had us and it was in the summertime, and they just opened this building. The church wasn't open, so they opened the building. Somebody forgot to turn on the AC. They're filming in the offices, where the offices are, because I'm supposed to be like a gas running not a dispensary, an oil with production oil, whatever. So, and I'm in a suit, I'm fucking hot. Listen, anything we do, don't put me in a fucking suit, okay? Don't put me in a suit. If I could do all my scenes in a fucking tank top and a fucking pair of shorts, that would be ideal. So they got me in this, and I'm sitting there and I'm uncomfortable, and all I have is a few lines, and I got the lines late. It was kind of, and it's hot because all the lights and everything's going on. There's like all these fucking people in there, and I'm just struggling not to sweat. And as a sweater, when you start sweating, you can't help but stop, and all you can't keep thinking is every little bead of sweat that goes down your neck or your back, you feel it. It's almost it's almost like a boulder rolling down a hill. You feel it like, and then you can't stop thinking, and another one and another one. So I'm trying to read my lines, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not off book. I'm not even off book. I'm just trying to remember these few lines in the scene. So after the scene, the director guy says, when I saw your audition video, I said, this is my guy. This is my guy. But then today you show up, and where's my guy? Where's my guy? Where is my guy? You come back tomorrow? I said, yeah, I'll be back.
You're not my guy right now. Right now, you are a different guy. It's funny. I shot Charlie Boy, and I sent you the trailer. In Charlie Boy, I shot the whole fucking movie in a suit, and it was in the summertime in New York. So the director wanted me to wear the fucking suit. I mean, literally, I was like, boy, I gotta sleep in the suit. Every scene, I'm in the same suit.
Yeah.
And you could see parts of it as I'm coming down in the trailer. You could see the sweat marks. I'm wearing this red shirt with an electric blue suit, and Charlie Boy, the character I'm playing, is supposed to be this guy that's helping one of his friends get out of a gambling debt that he owes to the mob. And there's a scene that I'm walking down 36th Avenue in Astoria over here, down by Kaufman Studios, and you could clearly see the sweat marks on my fucking chest. You know what I mean? And I'm like, really, bro? We're not going to edit that out. We're not going to use that miracle fucking shit to get it out. And he's like, no, it's more natural like this, But that heat, that sweating thing, man. Yeah, man, it's fucking terrible. Oh, God.
I walk off stage. I actually started getting in the habit of having like a little hand towel with me a lot, just because, especially like after the show and you're selling merch and you're over there meeting and greeting and stuff, people come up and shake your hand. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to shake my fucking sweaty, clammy hand. People are like, oh, that's okay, and then they're like, wiping the shit.
Yeah.
Because once I start sweating, I can't stop. Unless I go into an ice box or something.
Yeah.
You mentioned Vasani's. You're performing at Vasani's in Port Charlotte one time, and
Yeah.
that's a great room, great food, right? And but they have a walk-in freezer that every time I get off stage, I go into the walk-in freezer and I do my Universal Soldier impression. I go in there and fucking recharge. Oh,
That's
it's just the
crazy.
worst. It's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
I wanted to share the story. I don't know if you appreciate this or not, but this weekend I was at the Laugh-In Comedy Cafe in Fort Myers. Chris Cowles, who was the longtime MC and house MC in that room when it first opened, was back at it this weekend. And Chris was nice enough to bring me back and take me back and forth to the shows from the hotel. On the last night, Saturday night, last show, we're going back to my hotel and we're pulling up to the front of the lobby in the hotel, and there's this woman walking. From behind, seems nice, thin, nice little body, maybe, And of course, Chris says, she's a hooker. And I went, and I looked, and I looked, and I realized she had no shoes on, which meant, yep, she's a hooker. Midnight,
Wow.
walking in a hotel parking lot, no shoes.
No. Wow.
It was a good scene. So she walks into the building. Him and I are bullshitting a bit, good seeing you, stuff. And then I go into the hotel. I'm walking in, and as I'm about to get on the elevator, guess who walks out of the elevator?
The shoeless hooker or another shoeless hooker?
No, the shoeless hooker. And she obviously, from behind, I would have gave her like a 7. A nice 7, maybe a solid 7. But when I saw that face, went down to a 3. That heavily, heavily drug usage, that look on the face and scar, and then she mumbled to me. She goes, wait. I go, what? Excuse me? She goes,
the low talker.
What the fuck? And she goes, what's your room number? I go, oh no, my room number. I'm fucking married, honey. No, I have no interest. You know what I'm saying? So Chris, you were right. She was a hooker. And yes, she was ugly the minute she turned around, so one of those moments. I thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah. I mean, but hookers, especially in New York City. I mean, especially you go on the west side of Manhattan. I don't know if you spend a lot of time in Manhattan, if you come to New York and all that, especially, I mean, back in the day, there were strolls on 10th Avenue. And these hookers were actually walking around with their garter belts out. They were just out there. We're talking about back in the 80s, like even as far as early 90s, but then they stopped it after they cleaned up Times Square and all that. But you just see them walking around with their fucking G-strings, their garter belts, and some of them be carrying their heels in their hands and they're walking barefooted, crazy shit.
Yeah. Have you ever been, I don't know if I should ask you if you've ever been with a professional. That's what we call it. We call them
professional. One that actually wears shoes.
Yes, not an amateur.
Yeah, I don't know. Growing up as a kid, I mean, my girl's gonna hear this probably, but no. But yeah, growing up as a kid, I mean, like, a lot of guys on the weekends would go out and they'd go to like the strolls and get their blowjobs, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But they were always high priced for me. I'm very cheap when it comes to like purchasing vagina. But
I could never get over that hour thing. You're like, well, I have to actually last an hour for us to work.
An hour.
You know what I mean?
That's like a down payment on the condominium in New York. An hour.
Yeah, well, they say it's like 150, 250 an hour. I'm like, well, how about for 3 minutes? Can it be like maybe $25 for 3 minminutes?
So you talk about like the call girls, like professional.
Yeah,
that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Call girls, right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah,
because usually the ones in the neighborhood, walking around the strolls, they don't give a shit. They'll do you on a bicycle, a skateboard, whatever you got, around the corner into a yard, whatever. But
that's good. That's good that they do that. Now that we're talking about New York, I know you've seen this. You're aware of what's happened in New York, but I'm asking everybody who I know. Tell me, is this self-defense or is this murder? Roll the clip in.
The mayor of New York City is now among those defending a bodega worker
This was the
charged
story of
with
the
murder.
bodega owner.
The store's surveillance video shows Jose Alba tussling with a man named Austin Simon before ultimately stabbing and killing him. This happened on Friday. Dre Clark is joining us live with the latest on this.
Hope you saw that video. But this was the gentleman who's now in jail for murder because he stabbed the guy who was trying to rob his bodega and took a knife right to the side of his neck. Now the young kid is dead, and everybody feels bad for the criminal.
Wow, that's a new one. You know, growing up in Queens, as a kid, I worked in the shipyards, Brooklyn Navy shipyard. I worked at Red Hook, a lot of bodegas, a lot of stuff you heard. And this is before the internet, obviously. There was so much murder, so much shit going on, you know. Back then, you know, a store owner would defend himself, you know, by somebody coming in and trying to rob or something. And if he had to kill the guy or whatever it was in self-defense, it was over. Now, with the media involved and all this internet shit and all these people voicing their opinions and all this nonsense, you know, I mean, where do you separate that line where you're defending yourself and this guy's coming to you? That's like somebody coming into your house, let's just say. You're sleeping at nighttime and you defend your family by killing this guy. Now you're all of a sudden you're charged with murder. I don't get that. I think if anybody has to defend themselves in their place of their business or in their home, and it goes down to like, if I'm going to die or you're going to die and I kill you, I don't think I should be going away for murder.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Some people would say, well, he had no intention to kill. He was just trying to rob you. I'm like, well, how do you know that? You know, I'm always amazed when people think they know. Like, all right, so what you want me to do is you really want me to think that this criminal, right, has responsibility, you know, and they have character. And you know, you were going to assume that the person who's committing the crime, for some reason, has a moral compass, you know, and all of a sudden is not going to kill you. And you know, it's amazing to me. In Florida, they had that stand your ground rule, which always got a lot of shit. You know, like, oh, people were killing people. Well, you know, I have a very simple philosophy. If you are going to be a criminal, if you're somebody who is taking from society, if you're going to rob somebody or you're going to try to mug somebody, and for some reason or the other, one way or the other, you find yourself dead, that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to go to the store to help an old lady grocery shop and you get shot, if you're going to bring money to the church to make a donation and you get shot, that's obviously a different story than if you were going to go to rob the church or, you know, something like that. So it's just amazing to me what we're seeing, you know, nowadays and stuff. So, you know, in New York, listen, the next story is, I was tell you, you know, I don't know if you guys like your new governor after fucking, what's his name? What that fucking pervert?
Cuomo.
The whole family. Yeah, huh?
Cuomo.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So glad that he's out, and him and fucking Dick Blasio. These guys single-handedly destroyed fucking New York, and it's always a touchy situation for me because I lost my dad to Alzheimer's in 2020, and my father was in this nursing home, well kept, and then all of a sudden they started taking all these people and bringing them to nursing home, and my pop died of you know, he just, you know, he's suffering from Alzheimer's dementia. And then all of a sudden, after COVID and everything, 2 weeks later, we get a call that he died. He passed away and they had him on a respirator. And I have resentments for Cuomo. Cuomo's a real fucking suspect. Him and his fucking brother. He's so full of shit. I'm so glad he got what was coming to him. You know, touching females or whatever the fuck it is. But de Blasio, on the other hand, the other man, this fucking crook that is single-handedly, him and his wife had robbed $1 billion and put only $150 million towards homeless. And I live in Astoria, Doug, right in Astoria, Queens, by Vernon Boulevard. And right now, Long Island City has just turned into second part of Manhattan with all the investors, multi-billion-dollar buildings going up. It's insane. And I ride my bike a lot. I like to ride my bike. It keeps me healthy. And I ride all over the place. I go down Vernon Boulevard, all that. All these hotels, brand new spanking hotels. Homeless people are living in there. Living in there.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, this whole country has taken this wicked turn into if you want to call it socialism, whatever you want to call it. And they're brand new hotels, and there's people outside drinking their 40s, playing craps in the streets and all that. And you say to yourself, wow, how did this come about? You know what I mean? And it ties into everything else, with the government and the states and whoever's running. Because clearly the federal government has no jurisdiction during the pandemic with the states. The states did whatever the fuck they wanted.
Right.
And
right.
president was able to. So, but yeah, I mean, he clearly destroyed fucking New York City, and de Blasio, another one. These guys are thieves.
Yeah, it was real. It was so hard to watch the deterioration of a great city when that moron, de Blasio, was running things, and of course, Cuomo. I mean, the Democratic Party wanted to make him the next president of the United States or Attorney General. He was a god to the liberals, and how great he was, and it's like people like the whole thing about the nursing home thing. It's like. The governor of Florida, DeSantis, was getting ripped early in it. Like, oh, what do you guys know? But it turns out what he did was much better than California and New York by not closing the schools and doing all this stuff, And my only advice to people is that when you're in a time of crisis, first of all, you may want to hold back on judging people, in a sense, because everybody was judging. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. Well, listen, why would anybody send fucking COVID patients to a nursing home? That to me, this just smelled of just population control. It just smelled like an Illuminati fucking move, right? To rid the city and the state of the people that are in their last fucking legs. It's the hardest thing in the world. My mother was in a nursing home. My father suffered from Parkinson's and shit. And you just think of the people that didn't even get to see their families. They couldn't even go to see them. Because all this shit was going on. And my question to you is, is New York going to survive this? Because it to me, our good friend Steve Marshall has his walks through New York and everything looks great. But at the same time, it's just when you watch what's going on, you're like, is it going to turn? Is it going to turn around?
Listen, it's a big mystery. And to be perfectly clear, most of the mom and pop stores around my neighborhood all shut down. And I think that was the agenda. I think there was a strategy behind all this. You use the word Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. But, when you see all these beautiful venues that have been around for so many years, and all of a sudden, the corporate control kicks in because they're actually, palming or, taking care of the politics involved, the politicians, because that's all it's about. American corporate has taken over, and you don't even, mom and pop stores are just done because they couldn't afford the pandemic. And even like people that had mortgages, they were telling their, it's okay, you don't have to pay rent, but they wanted the owners of the building to keep paying their mortgages. So now it's in a catch-22. If you think about it, it's like, I'm telling your people, your tenants, it's okay, don't pay your landlord, but the landlord has to pay his mortgage. Yeah. That clearly right there, it just screams out thievery, whatever you want to call it. Some kind of, and as far as New York surviving this, New York is in a real bad shape right now. It's bad. I don't know if we'll ever get back to where we were, and all over the country, gas prices are $6.50. If you use your cash, you pay a little bit less. Now you get penalized. You pay more if you're using credit. So much, man. I called it the summer in the gutter. All these setting up all these places that are eating in the gutter. Meanwhile, there's rats and everything has turned so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, New York has always had a rat problem. I mean, take out subways. Look at how disgusting and filthy it is. Now you add all these structures that they built outside their restaurants. You walk down Manhattan 2:00 in the morning, and any restaurant that has these structures built outside, there's rats all over the place. It's crazy. Insane. And a story also. I don't know if we'll ever get a rebound from it, to be perfectly honest with you. That's the reality of it. It's bad. And now they're talking about another one, another pandemic supposedly coming again. There's always another one coming. Another scam virus. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But, it's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, Biden had slipped and mentioned something in a press conference a few weeks ago, like there's another one, Yeah, well, he's bought and paid for. He's completely compromised by the Chinese government. And if anybody doesn't believe that, I'll bet you $1,000 in the next 3 to 4 years it all comes out, if not sooner. There will be a Republican wave in the Congress and in the House this in November, and don't blame me. Hey, don't get mad at me. Get mad at your own fucking leaders because they ate a big dick. They got into the power. They got into power. They ate a big dick. And now and the 30% fucking approval rating. It's not me. I'm not the one who fucking did it. Okay, so they're going to have to pay greatly on what's going on. The new mayor, the new governor, acting governor, Kathy Hochul, who wasn't obviously she was not voted in. She was just the assistant, or what do they call it?
Handed in.
Yeah, she took that spot. That fucking face that looks like somebody played with Play-Doh. And built that face. I mean, look at it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And so if the exterior looks like that, you can imagine what a fucking brain looks like.
But this was the new thing that she wants to control. The Supreme Court came out and said you can carry concealed weapons in New York. You should be able to, if you got fucking criminals all over the place, you should be able to, law-abiding citizens who have a proper gun permit should be able to carry. Well, she's trying to come against it now. She's basically saying that if you're going to get a gun license in New York, we want to look at your social media. We want to look at all the shit you're posting on social media.
Just because you're going to apply for a gun permit doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the gun permit either. That's another fucking scam. You know what I mean? So it's all, because if you're going to supply, you tell people, okay, you're running a business, you have to get your gun permit. You're eligible, whatever you want to call it. But now we looked at your social media, and 7 months ago you made a statement about something. All that, that's a red flag right there. So you're not going to get it. What's the purpose of all that? So they're coming up creatively with some ideas or some ways to red flag you or whatever it is, And I came into this country. I immigrated from Greece, Athens, Greece, in 1971. My father came over here in 1971, worked for 6 months straight, saved money, and then had my sister, myself, and my mom fly in, and he worked hard. And I grew up at a time where we pledged allegiance when we went to school, and we were proud of being in the United States. And the 4th of July, the flags ran high, and everybody was proud of where they are. Now, all of a sudden, you can't even, celebrate and be proud of an American that you are. This is the fucking world we're living in today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, could you imagine that we come to a time where people are saying, how could you celebrate the 4th of July with everything going on? I'm like, what? I go, I got into a big fucking thing on Facebook. Somebody posted something because they were demonizing our forefathers because they were slave owners. So they were basically dismissing the entire, the entire Constitution because those who drafted it were all these supposedly slave, big sinners. I go, my point was like, how can you judge using today's knowledge, using today's wisdom? How can you judge the character of those in society from centuries ago? And, that's just a simple philosophy. Well, I made that point. I made that comment, Greg, and I'm a racist. I'm a homophobe. These people are calling me shit. And I said, look, and the funny thing is everybody who challenged my knowledge and made fun of me and so it's funny, this one woman goes, I bet you if you were living back then, you would have been a slave owner. You're probably a homophobe too. And you're probably not safe around women. And I go, lady, if you were back in those times, they would have fucking burned you as a witch. And,
exactly.
If you're going to be,
the crazy part is, not to interrupt you. These people that talk about America and my freedom and stuff like that, well, you wouldn't have this fucking freedom to make all these idiotic comments if people didn't die for your freedom. These people that fought in wars to keep America free, the land of the free and so-called. But now you want to criticize them and say, oh, that's not right. It's just upside down, man. And I remember this country going all fucked up when I realized that everything was going screwed up. When the number one rapper was a white guy and the number one golfer was a black guy. That's how you knew everything was all fucked up.
Going berserk.
I said something's wrong, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Woman of the Year is a former male decathlon athlete.
How did that? This is great. You know, I mean, really? And this guy's like, you know, challenging other women with a dick, and you know, it's okay because he's a woman. You know,
I just don't like hypocrisy. You know, it's like AOC, who's a congresswoman out of New York, was complaining. Was making fun of how Judge Kavanaugh, you know, ran from his Morton Steakhouse after a mob of people. Meanwhile, AOC was complaining she was she was scared for her life when she was in a building that wasn't even attacked or entered by January 6th protesters. You know, I mean, it's just amazing what you see, you know, nowadays. And yeah. And even that's why it's scary to me. The whole thing is fucking the whole thing is scary to me. It's like, look, if you want to keep talking about racism, you're pushing it. They're pushing it.
Sometimes I feel as if the powers that control, whatever you want to call it, they want that constant battle. It sells. That's what they want. You know, God forbid if like the front page of the Post or the Daily News or Newsday has something positive on the front page, because it's like it's there. People crave it. They want to hear the worst things happening. But when you take it and you spin it around and you make it where there's going to be controversies when it comes to color, blacks against whites and whites against, but that's what they want. They want all that. You know, and the numbers don't lie. I mean, you know, there was something on social media during the pandemic that I made a comment. I said, you know, I didn't care whether the person was white, black, Chinese. I don't give a shit. There was this a young black kid, okay, and he was maybe about 18, and he had about 7-8 people with him, young kids, and there was this white old lady sitting down. I think she was sitting on a bench, just in mind of the day. And he walked over to her. She must have been in the 70s, no exaggeration, though. And he walks in front of her, and he's like, "Can you hear me? I'm talking to you," like really loud. And he's being videotaped because his buddies are there, thugs, videotaping. And he goes, "I'm talking to you." And he stands in front of her, and he goes into a pitcher's mode. You know, like the pitchers when they go like this with the glove? He looks to his left, he looks to his right, and he goes into a windup, and he gives her an open hand slap right across the face. She just buckled and fell off the bench. I made a comment. I said, these fucking animals deserve to go to jail. I said animals, not because they're black, not because they're Chinese, not because they're white. Their
behavior, based on their behavior.
Their fucking behavior, okay? And then all of a sudden I got, "Oh, you're a radio, this or that." I don't pay mind to those idiots. I block them immediately. Okay? I have my opinion, you have your fucking opinion. But the numbers and the facts don't lie. Okay? So that's what's happening. And as far as like the media being liberal and all that, back in the day they were, but the media today controls everything. You know, they really do. And they want to push the envelope and make everybody that believes against them or has their own beliefs in something that they're wrong automatically. You're wrong. And that's not right. That's not the
No, the people easily like I said, you can't make a comment on something without somebody just making that complete, a complete valuation on you. You know, it's like, people just say, like, when this was going on, like I made a comment about the NBA player, the woman who's in the in Russia right now, and I said, and listen, I don't care. Like I'll say it because I basically said, like, well, isn't it kind of funny and ironic how she didn't, she talked bad about her country. She didn't even want to hear the national anthem. She would kneel to the national anthem, and she thought that the words of the national anthem were not right. They were lies and all this shit. She talked about that, and now she's in a Russian jail. How ironic, karma. So of course, because she's black, now I'm racist, right? And I told somebody, I go, listen, I felt the same way about Rapinoe, that soccer, the girl, the woman who plays the women's national soccer team, Rapinoe. I can't remember her first name now. The one who does this every time she scores a goal, she thinks she's a god. Well, she got the medal from Biden this week. The fucking prestigious Medal of Honor, not the Medal of Honor, whatever the fuck it's called. And I don't think she's worthy. I think Simone Biles is worthy. She's one of the greatest gymnasts we've ever fucking seen. She's amazing as a gymnast, and she's a great citizen and stuff. Is Rapinoe a great citizen? Fuck no. So now am I racist because I'm making fun of a woman or a white woman? No. Oh, I forgot she's gay. So now I'm just homophobic. Well, fuck. Listen, the only way I could say anything bad about somebody is if they're a white male,
Well,
that's the only
the
time I could
problem
ever.
in this country.
Yeah.
But you're the problem. I'm the problem. We're white males, and we're the problem. That's exactly
Yeah.
what the left and the far left is pushing, and that's where it never ends. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's sad that I don't even engage with these people anymore, Doug. Between you and I, because there's nothing you can't communicate with these people. They can't rationalize.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
And they go into
Yeah.
this crazy shit. And all that. It's like really, I don't have time for fucking idiots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you gotta help for the best, and it's my opinion. I'm allowed to have an opinion. I live in a fucking country where I can voice my opinion. If you don't like it, fuck you. That's your problem. Okay?
Yeah.
If I don't
Exactly.
like something you say, I might make a comment on it, and that's it. I can make a comment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. And let's see if it ever comes back down to that, because I mean, because sometimes you hear people like say, well, how come no one else is saying it? Well, because they don't want some ignorant troll to fucking sit there and fuck up their space on Facebook, and threaten their fucking life. And the other thing I just heard today is actually LeBron James has come out and said to that woman, the NBA player Brittany, Brittner, I think it's Brittner, whatever her name is.
Right.
She's that she, why she should even come back. Don't come back. Don't fucking come back. The singer from Green Day. You want to be a fucking citizen of England? Go be a fucking citizen of England. Go fucking be there. You know what I mean? Go there. If you don't want this country, get the fuck out. And
Thank you. Yes.
It's just that simple.
All these people that were against Trump, okay, and again, you have your right, whatever. But all of them that were saying that if Trump ever gets elected, I'm moving. How come they didn't move? What happened?
Yeah.
And the ones that are always claiming about, a lot of celebrities, which I believe that, if you're a celebrity and you want to get up and get your little trophy, whatever it is, whether it's the Oscar or whatever it is, keep fucking politics out of it. Okay? We need to pick you to get up there and give your opinion on politics. Leave politics alone. Get up there, get your trophy, do whatever the fuck you want to do. But, when you talk about, everybody this and defund the police and all this nonsense, motherfucker, you're the same person that has a wall. You're living around a fucking wall, and you got security staff all up and down, up to, on your property. Try living amongst the people, the way the real people live.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us how much you want. Yeah, tell us how much you don't want guns around, but okay. Can your bodyguard not have a gun either? Is that cool? Oh no, he's got to protect me. Who was that? That was Cori Bush, that lady, the one politician woman, the congresswoman, that she was all against guns and defunding the police, but then she got in a lot of shit because she has an armed fucking security detail, and people started calling her out. They're like, well, what the fuck? I mean, you don't want guns and shit, but you got to fucking, well, that's important because I'm who I am. I'm like, oh. Isn't it the greatest thing in the world where it's okay for me and not for you? I mean, it's just, but here's the thing. I think this country, if anything, is waking up to this. I think a lot of people are going enough already. Robert De Niro, love the guy as an actor, right? Great, one of the greatest actors of all time, some of the greatest roles, iconic roles. But when that fucking douchebag says, I want to punch you in the face, Donald Trump, I mean, dude, you're a fucking actor. You have no fucking idea what it's like for the average man, to be out there, average person. I listen, like you said, I don't really give a shit. I mean, there's some actors, there's some people that devote their time, right? You look at a guy like the guy from fucking the Titanic, DiCaprio. I mean, this guy's doing a lot of shit. He's doing a lot of shit for fucking world peace and then the fucking global, all kinds of stuff and hunger. Bono, does a lot of stuff for global hunger. A musician, spends his day. But if you're just going to sit back and make a fucking comment, just shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear. And then somebody tried to catch you one time on Facebook. They go, would you feel the same way about the Republican actors who say that shit, like John Voight? And I go, yes, I don't put any more credence into what they fucking say because of who they are. They're just another opinion. You know what I mean? It's not. I listen to these people as much as I listen to it, but the fact that these people have these platforms, right, and they go on these platforms and they try to speak out and all this kind of shit. And most of the time, like I said, they're hypocrites. They're really fucking hypocrites.
Well, and then you're wrong automatically, because if you don't agree with somebody, right away you're wrong, and it gets like James Woods caught a lot of heat because he was supporting whatever the president of the United States. I think what's his name, the actor from Breaking Bad, had mentioned something. I think he said something as far as you could vote. I mean, don't call me exactly how it was said, but he said something to the fact that, okay, I can have an opinion about somebody and whatever the case is, but once he becomes president, I support my president.
Right.
In other words, he's the president. Now it's time to just support America. That's what a president represents, America. So if you're going to keep hating or whatever, and there was another post on social media about, some people are like, they couldn't stand him, and, their idiotic thoughts about, the president and all that. And somebody said, well, Donald Trump will soon be dead one day and he'll leave, but you're still going to be a fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all these, it was just an excuse for you to go after him and whatever the case is. I'm all for anybody that's going to help America. That's the bottom line. That's what I believe. If you're going to help America, you made a statement before about Biden and China. Yeah, I really believe that. He's got some shit going on. And when Trump came aboard, he wanted to get money from these countries that owe us money. All this money that's leaving the country. Let's bring some money into the country. Okay, Biden gave what, $50 billion to fucking just recently. I mean, what $50 billion could have done for this country? People are starving in this fucking country, man. People are like, I don't get it, bro.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah. You will find there. Listen, if there is a red wave, if we take over Congress, if the Republicans take over Congress and the House, there will be special hearings and special counsels appointed, and there is enough evidence once we control that. I mean, the problem is when a certain party controls the arms of the government, the DOJ, the FBI, and those aspects of it. And then people say they don't do that. Oh yeah, just go back to Obama when he weaponized the IRS to go after the Tea Party. That didn't happen. I mean, and the FBI was weaponized during the fucking, the Russian hoax. We all know that shit. So it's crazy that people would say, oh, that ain't gonna happen. Well, fuck, it does happen, and that's the issue. So let's see what happens. But there is so much evidence. Thank goodness. I mean, I have people in my circles that are really well-known folks and know a lot of shit. I mean, I have somebody I work for that's a retired admiral. I have another client of mine who's a member of the Knights of Templar. So I hear a lot of shit, and that I shouldn't probably get to hear. And so you find out things, but I'll tell people, and then we'll mark this. We're going to mark the podcast, but not only will Hunter Biden be put away, but his father, Mr. Biden, don't be surprised within 36 months he goes down one way or the other. Not only on his bike. I mean, like, he's going to go down. He's the big guy. So, all right, let's move on a little bit here. I love sexy women. I don't know if you have a type of woman, Greg. Is there a type of woman you like? Blondes, brunettes?
I like a woman to have breasts, a decent sized butt, and a brain. Without the brain, it doesn't work. I think the sexy part of a woman is a brain. I'm at that age now, 59 years young. Years ago, in my 20s, I would have said, you got to have plummy ears and nice fat lips. I think a brain is very sexy. Someone that I can communicate with. But I do like brunettes, I remember one time I dated a redhead, and my buddy Nick Deisman, a very funny comedian, he goes, Greggy, she's a redhead. You know what a redhead is? I go, no. He goes, a blonde from hell. That's what a redhead is, Greggy.
Listen, how fucking true is that? I've never had a bad sexual experience with a redhead, number one. They are the wildest. And there's something about, how can I say this without being vulgar, but there's something about their taste. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about, you know what I mean? They're just hot. They are everything they are said to be. It's just amazing. But I always like these women.
Like my girlfriend right now, and I'm closing on 2 years. So there you go. I'm tolerable. I can actually stay with a woman. She's half Colombian and half Puerto Rican, and she's sexy.
Oh my God.
Oh man, I got both of them. She's fucking gorgeous. She's beautiful too. She's got a beautiful heart and everything. and she's 42 years young. You know, I'm 59, but we have a wonderful relationship. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I laugh with her. If you don't make me laugh, it's not like women always say, "Is he funny? Does he have this? Does he have a big dick or whatever?" You know, I can say the same thing about a woman. You know, if there's no interest there, you got to bring a little more to the table these days, though.
Yes.
That's how I think.
Yes.
I don't want you to come here with your mirror and start looking at yourself and all that shit. You know, looks are attractive. I have to be attracted to you, but you got to bring a little more to the table. You know,
Yes.
and she does.
Yeah. I mean, that shit carried a lot of weight when I was 18. You know, I mean, listen, I'm at the stage in my life where I can walk through a room of naked women just to get to a refrigerator with prosciutto in it. Okay, that's where the stage I'm at. But here's a woman. I don't know if you ever watched this. I don't know if it's I saw this woman. I'm trying to remember what she was on, but Padme, what's her name? Padme Lakshmi shares nude photos of her on their Instagram, which we all should make sure we have. Says it's often easier to pose in the buff when a woman is behind the lens. Yeah, if I was going to take naked photos, I would want a woman to take the photos of me too. Right?
Yeah, it's you know, these apps, these you know, it's funny because, you know, you go on these apps like Instagram now, you have these women that they're following 0 people, they have 4,000 or 5,000 followers, you know, and for the simple reason, you know, they're showing their ass, they're showing their tits, they're showing, you know, let's keep it real, you know what I mean? And every once in a while, some of them will put up these buttons, these donations, or make a. But you know, listen, we live in a crazy world, Dougie. You know what I mean? Where like everything's attached to our hand, and yeah, women. I mean, you know, I mean, finding the right woman, especially, you know, I was, you know, I went through a bad marriage. It was, most of it was my fault, my drinking and drugging in the past, you know. But now I've been sober 11 years, and I've met the right woman, and identify with you. Yes, I can walk through a room filled with, you know, naked women, and I want to get to that roast beef sandwich or prosciutto, as you said, whatever it is, you know, because we're at that age, you know what I mean? I'm at that age that if I fart wrong, I can end up in the emergency room. You know what I mean? I got to be careful how I fart.
Yes, of course. Just be happy you farted. I farted and go, oh,
yeah, that's a good one. Be happy I farted. If I didn't release, if I don't release, chances are I could blow up.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. Now, I've always been that guy. I've always liked I never was really, I mean, I dated white women when I was young, but I always liked Latin women, the black women. My wife's Asian.
Oh.
You know, I always loved the exotic woman. I always, to me, it was just always, you know. And my mother, we're Spaniard. You know, I'm from, our family's in Spain. My mother would always say, "Why don't you like a nice Spanish woman?" I'm like, maybe because she reminds me of you, Ma. You know, yelling at my father all the time. You know, my dad would come home, my mother would be like, Dionisio, Dionisio. I'm like, oh fuck, I just wish I could.
Yeah. You know, I'm Greek, and my mom used to say, one day you're gonna find a nice Greek girl, you know, and it never happened. You know, I was married to a Gemini. The Geminis, that's a whole different topic. You know, I joke around. She caught me cheating on her with herself. And, you know, she was half Greek, half Belgium, whatever, and it didn't work out. But, you know, and Greek women, especially the ones from Sparta or Crete, you know, this is Sparta. You know, hell has fury when you argue with a Greek woman sometimes. And Greeks, they're just screamers to begin with, very angry, opinionated, you know. So, but, you know, relationships for the most part, you know, you got to work at them. It's not easy, you know. And I know now because I have a built-in translator. You know, in order to be with a woman for a long time, be successful, you know, when she says something, you have to take it, and it's like, beep, 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 and you break it down, you understand, and that comes with time and experience. You know, like when my girl looks at me and goes, "Honey, is that what you're gonna wear today?" I know she's saying, "Take it off." You know, you're not gonna wear that.
Change, dumbass. Yeah, you have to develop a proficiency when it comes to women. Otherwise, you're just another schmeg. Speaking of that, I don't know if you're aware of this, but have you ever heard of the husband stitch?
No.
You're an experienced man. You never heard of the husband stitch, huh?
No.
Well, the husband stitch, after years of painful sex, this 23-year-old mom discovered she was once given a husband stitch. That's when, after a woman has a baby, the gynecologist or the OBGYN gives an extra little snip there in the vagina wall to make it a little tighter for the husband.
Wow. Wow, look at that.
See what you learn on a podcast? The husband stitch. You know?
The husband stitch. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder how
Wow.
AOC feels about the husband stitch. You know, but in this particular case, the story, the woman was having pain because I guess the doctor thought maybe she was a little, you know, she had too much space, and he fucking stitched it up a little too much. But you know, it's funny how you think of like the husband stitch. You know, it's just...
depending on the size of the guy too. You know, some guys that'll be like throwing a hot dog in the hallway. You know, you never know.
Exactly. Hey, it's not that my dick is small, honey. Okay. Yeah, we could charge $8 to go in and out of that fucking tunnel. Yeah, but listen, as a guy, my thing was, you know, okay. Women could say your size or this and that, but for men, for women, it's moisture. You know, have you ever been with a woman who's just like fucking sticking your dick in the beach
sheetrock?
Yeah, you could spit, you can run shower water over that bitch, and it's still like you still like you got road rash on your cock.
She could fucking spark and cause a fire.
She's hot. She's sexy. No, she's hot.
She's sparking. Yeah.
Now, ladies, before you write me, just understand. I for those of you women who are, you know, a little on the Sahara Desert side, you know, there is some medication you could take for that. You know, just like, listen, you guys make fun of guys with little dicks, you know, so a guy's going to make fun of a woman with a dry vagina. I mean, let's face it. The last thing you want dry is your vagina. It's not a fucking martini. Okay. Any rate. So that's what a husband's.
Listen, really, years ago when I was a kid, we used to go to this local place on called Papagallo's. It was a club on Steinway Street off Astoria Boulevard, and in the rear of the club there was you had the men's restroom on one side and the women's on the other side, and there was a sheetrock separating them, you know, whatever. And if you like towards the end, the rear of the room, if you like literally put your ear close to this area, you can actually hear women screaming, talking a lot. And let me tell you something. Some of these women in these restrooms, they speak like truck drivers. You have no idea when it comes to sizes of dicks and shit like that. You know, are you with that asshole again? He's got a small dick. You need to tell Charlie. And then you hear everybody say, Charlie, yes. He got a big fat dick. Charlie will really fuck you good. You know? So it's always about the size the majority of the time. But the wetness. You got to be able to like know how to like, you know, take care of a woman. You know, when I was heavy, I went down on a woman. I actually fell asleep on her.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, I had to go down with a CPAP after that. You know, I was like Darth Vader. I am your daddy.
You know, exactly, dude. Exactly. All right, let's see what we got here. This is interesting. The Georgia Stones. I don't know if you know that in Georgia they had those. It was called the United States Stonehenge, but somebody had placed them there, and there was all kinds of writings and all types of languages, basically talking about population control. That the Earth cannot exist with more than 500 million people, or whatever the number was, because there's so many resources. Listen, I do believe there are a lot of people on this earth. That's why you have a lot of this nonsense going on, because everybody's fighting for attention. Everybody's fighting for fucking rice. Everybody's fighting for this oil. Everybody's fighting for everything. So we got to thin the herd at some point, I think. But those things blew up. Somebody blew them up. And they're saying it's an act of God. It's probably, who knows, but it's interesting. And the question is, whoever really put them out there. But we're about this year, we will hit a milestone on Earth. We'll have over 8 billion people on Earth this year.
8 billion people. Wow. Soylent Green is right around the corner. Do you remember that? You remember Charlton Heston in that movie?
Yeah.
Soylent Green. A lot of people are not going to know what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
That's when they, at the end of the movie, he realizes that, yes, man will eat man.
Well, that's what they say. You know, Nostradamus says it. You know, a lot of the things that, you know, eventually there's going to be food shortages. There's going to be people panicking and freaking out. You know, I've said this before. I'm not surprised that there's mass shootings and stuff. I'm really not. People are just fucking losing their mind. And that's why when people say, you know, they try to take my gun away and shit, oh, fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? I mean, even I didn't even, the show I did on Monday, I've never been there and I don't know, you know, because there was a couple people that made comments on one of those posts. You had some people that called me racist and stuff, and they, like I think I mentioned in the other podcast. But you never know. Somebody who doesn't like your shit on social media may come up to you and fucking try to fucking take you off the stage one day, you know. So you never know as a comic.
You know, people talk about guns and all that, and all. You know, people don't understand the realities. The guns is to protect us from the government. That's why, you know, the Second Amendment. But I don't want to get into that whole fucking thing because people are going to start, you know. But I was going to say, I heard you say Nostradamus. I'm a big Nostradamus fan. I love Nostradamus. And one of the greatest answers he had for somebody had approached him and said, you probably noticed, said, what do you think about World War III? And Nostradamus said, I don't know about World War III, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Yeah, Einstein, actually. Yeah.
Einstein, excuse me, not Nostradamus. My apologies, I got it mixed up over it. Einstein, when asked about that, he said, yeah, not Nostradamus, Einstein, yeah. And it goes to show you exactly which way we're directed, you know, which way we're going, you know. And
absolutely.
I think Nostradamus misspelled Hitler with one letter. He was the one that called him Hitler. Yes. Right.
Yeah. You know, it's all in the interpretation of the quatrains as well. So who knows what's actually true. But yeah, so we're going to reach 8 billion people. Let's go through this. We have a few stories here today. It's time for The News is a Joke. This is where we review some stories, real headlines, and we find humor in them because why not? That's what we do as comics. We have to laugh at things. You know, people say, "What? You know, how can you make fun of that?" Well, because I'm a fucking comic. You know, I don't take things seriously. I try to look at things that are going to make me laugh. Our first story. This is great. Dad lived much longer than he deserves. Son writes a searing Florida obituary. Don't let this fucking guy read your obituary or write your obituary. You know, one of the most profound things my father said to me, I think I was in my 20s, and I was really righteous. You know, I was in my mid to late 20s, and I was making 6 figures a year as a financial advisor, and I had that cocky, all-knowing, and I had a job where I was advising people on thousands, if not millions of dollars of decisions. So I was righteous. You know, I thought I knew everything, you know. And my father said to me, he goes, Douglas, he goes, if you were to die, how many people would come to your funeral? And those who came, what would they say about you? And I thought about that one night, and from that day on, I severely changed my behavior to a certain extent because I realized I was an asshole. And, you know, and that can happen. But this story is unbelievable. Let me see here. Let's see. Lawrence Flaff said he wanted to say the truth about his dad. He planned the obituary. His dad died on June 27th at the age of 81. He lived much longer than he deserved, says in the obituary. He is survived by his 3 children. No, 4. These pieces. Oops, there's 5 children. Well, as of 2022, we believe there is more, but we don't know about them because Dad was a whore. Can you imagine? This guy had a line. Do you disrespect your father like that, even though he fucked up a bit?
You know, I have a son. My son is 26 years. He just recently, well, obviously, he's a Hunter graduate. He graduated with media and graphic design. And, you know, I wasn't there. You know, my wife and I, when we separated, and I was all fucked up. And then from there, I went to detox rehab. When I came out, you know, I kind of sat him down and I made my amends to him. And I told him, I said, listen, Tom, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. His stepfather was there for him. Now my ex-wife, she, her and the second husband, they divorced also. So now my son's realizing that, you know, my ex-wife was a drama queen. But anyway, I made my amends to my son, and I told him what it was. And he was like, Dad, it's okay. You know, I understand that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's a young, intelligent kid. He's 26 years old now. And, you know, I did all I could do. I made my amends to him. But, you know, to hold a grudge like that, you know, grudges handcuff us in life.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
They handcuff us. So for this idiot to make these statements, I mean, sometimes people just, they just want to hold on to resentments, and I'm a true believer of letting go and moving on.
No, you get. He says his dad had hobbies including abusing his first wife and children. He loved to start projects, but never followed through any of them. He enjoyed life of a barfly for many years. He quaint little living space studio above his favorite hole in the wall at a club in Nashville. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do agree with that. Sometimes you got to put shit away and put it to bed. Our next story: the scientists design contraceptives to limit gray squirrels. So next time you see a gray squirrel in the Walgreens pharmacy asking for condoms, don't ask questions.
Well, he might be the actual doctor behind the counter of the squirrel.
Exactly. Listen, I just said we have 8 billion people hit 8 billion people about to hit the earth. I think they should do that with some people. You know what I mean? The project could help eradicate the gray squirrel in UK without killing them. Well, just kind of, again, population control. Why don't you get Bill Gates behind this and give him a fucking vaccine? There you go. The squirrels have a vaccine mandate they got to follow.
He'll be all for it.
Yeah, they'll love it. Our next story: could your old poop cure can your old poop cure future diseases? So I guess there's certain elements of your poop that you could probably help your gut, because there's a lot of people that I've learned a lot about this. Gut health is very important. Not just your brain, but your gut health, because that really affects a lot of your body. I went to a new chiropractor when I moved to South Carolina, and I started taking all these vitamins and shit and probiotics and stuff. And dude, I felt a lot better because it was taking away inflammation in my system, But this was interesting. The only thing is so they want you to save your shit so that maybe you can use it to help you with some problems in the future. But what are you going to do? Where are you going to save your shit? You're going to put them in a fucking shoebox in the closet? Are these your shoes? No, don't touch that, honey. That's my shit box.
Well, yeah. Maybe freeze it in the freezer, let it come out on a warmer day. What's that? Frozen. Take the smell in your freezer, honey. What is that? Well, it's my crap. It's my shit.
Hey, honey, I just want to let you know I ate that. I ate that Napolitano fucking dessert you had in your freezer. That's not dessert. I ate some of that fucking what's the Italian icy, the chocolate Italian icy you had. All right, our last story: Russian mother arrested for selling newborn baby to pay for a $3,600 nose job. And look at this lady. Look at that fucking.
Wow! Holy shit! Look at that fucking face, man.
Well, $3,600 was too much because they tried to replace the nose on her side of her fucking head. It looks like. I mean, yeah, that nose starts in Russia and ends in Ukraine. And look at that fucking thing. And
careful, Doug. You have a lot of Russian women coming at you, huh?
Oh, I love Russian women too. They're all tall and long-legged. Listen, I was banging so many Russian women. I had cauliflower ears. People thought I was in the UFC. Those fucking long, big, thick legs.
That's funny. That's.
One time I was at a party.
Dog. I like your style, dog.
I like you. You're short and fat. I can put you.
I am the female Drago. You are dog. Dog and Drago together.
Yes. I break you before I fuck you. Then I break you.
I will break you, Doug.
Oh my God, dude. Well, yeah, I mean, poor kid. Can you imagine? Where's your mom? I don't know. She gave me away so she can get a new schnoz. Are you upset? No, you should have seen her fucking nose. It was horrific. I'm all for her. I'm glad she did.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. It's fucking nuts. Well, that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I want to thank my guest today, Greg Criticos, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, man. Pleasure having you.
My pleasure. And stay tuned, by the way. We're going to be working on some stuff together. I don't want to give away anything or nothing, but we're pretty excited.
And really quick, I want to say tomorrow I'll be having a meeting because I did my little pitch, and as I texted you, tomorrow I'm having a great meeting, and I will be showing you off, and it's going to be fun, man. Awesome. Very exciting to as this continues to go. So
yeah,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
There you go. We're gonna be the next Laurel and Laurel.
Yes, Laurel and Laurel. Now seeing you and hearing you, I'm more than fucking definitely what's that fucking word I mix up sometimes? Convinced,
confident
that we will definitely be a dynamic duo. I can see it now. I really do. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I can't wait for it. Greg, where can people find you, buddy?
Okay, well, you can find me on Instagram, Greg Criticos. Same thing with Facebook, Greg Criticos, and my tag on social media. You can find me on the Greg the Greek, which is easier because a lot of people struggle with saying my last name. So this Friday I'll be in Harlem, Comedy Harlem. Then I'll be in Connecticut over the weekend. And mostly all over social media. Follow me on Greg Criticos and Greg the Greek. And next July 23rd, I'll be doing a major fundraiser for the Independent Firehouse at Howard Beach. That's a big one. We're expecting over 300 people on that one, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And
nice.
Big fundraiser for that one. And I can't wait for you to be in New York soon, man. And when you get to New York or when you're coming around, I'll definitely have some stuff lined up. And I'm excited,
Can't wait to go back to New York and try not to get attacked by scumbags on the street, but we'll be good. Greg Criticos, everybody. And by the way, this week on Wednesday, I'm going to be at the Lounge in Greenville, South Carolina, downtown Greenville. Then on Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be at Chadwick's Sports Bar and Grill in Medford, Oregon, at Chadwick's Comedy Club. And then the following Friday and Saturday, I believe it's the 22nd, 23rd, or whatever it is, I'm going to be at Joker's Comedy Club in Richland, Washington. Go to DougieAlmeida.com for more dates. There it is right there. Aside from that, everybody, do me a big favor. Love your fellow human. Be nice. Be respectful. And you know what? If somebody's behavior dictates it, tell them to go fuck themselves, regardless of what they look like or their race or their color or what their religion is. It doesn't matter. When people act up and act a fucking fool, then address it. In the meantime, just treat everybody like you would your own family. God bless everybody, and we'll see you here right here at the same spot. Take care.
I'm not psycho. Wake up.
Wake up.